Hello,
Well, we arrived a few hours ago, and immediately the feeling, greeted by the amazing people here. And environment is very important when you play, like the feeling, and I think a building can receive and permeate with the energy of the people that are doing something inside it. So I could immediately feel really relaxed and at home. I think the place is beautiful, and super excited about it. It's funny because internally I'm always searching, and internally the feeling is that I'm continually learning. In a sense, I feel like I'm preparing more and more all the time for receiving as much as possible of some kind of transmission that I'm not directly responsible for. So I don't have a feeling of ego. A little bit, I suppose, a healthy one, but not one when it comes to the music. It seems to just basically you can't will it to appear. So I'm ready to receive a transmission that I translate the best I can. And as I get older and I learn more instruments and I live more, it's like I'm able to grab it quicker and more spontaneously and with less effort. So I can make an album now in a very short period of time. Just basically get out of the way and let it flow through. This is also makes me very assistive in the creative process because I understand and I empathize and I can put myself in the position of the person that I'm either producing or I'm playing in with them. And I love the feeling of community. I can function alone, but I love more than anything collaboration and community and the feeling of belonging to a family and a resonance with other people. So I think because of that is when people say musician, I've also been involved in so many things. I mean, so many dozens and dozens and dozens of things. I'm very focused. I bring a certain level with me, and I'm very good at zeroing in on the important part of process, which is always the music, and how to bring that forward and help others do it the same way. I think my first record was like in 1983. That's a long time ago. So I was already like in the post-new wave, post-punk, and then before even grunge appeared, and then suddenly I was around, Pearl Jam and Soundgarden, and the next phase was Queens of the Stone Age, Desert Sessions, Stoner, all that stuff. Inspiration from where you are is important, An acoustic space that sounds good, that enhances, or maybe it adds a certain character that you utilize in the recording, like if a room has a certain frequencies that it accentuates, or it has a reverb or delays or decays, that you can play into that, And it is what it is. That's where you are, and that's where you have your recording device, whether it's a phone or a full, studio, which I travel with almost the ability to record fully, like a full band, and I carry microphones and speakers and headphones. And I just find that you're able to document the inspiration of that moment. Like, say, for example, we're here in Switzerland, in Martigny, and there's a certain feeling, and that would definitely play into whatever I would record, or like I was staying with my friends before coming over in Brittany, and Brittany's got a certain feeling to it. I always make sure I carry a recording studio. And the good thing about recording is that, we grew up with a lot of recordings where it starts, it sounds like that. So the fidelity is not as important as the feeling or the atmosphere of the magic of it, So as long as it's recording something that is worth listening to and inspiring, then it doesn't really matter whether you just did it on your iPhone or a really expensive studio. Like, I've recorded in studios that were like thousands a day, And I've always make sure that I've had a studio in wherever I am living, ever since I was a kid. I think my Uncle Peter used to always bring his band to rehearse at my mother's, and he always had different instruments, and it was multi-instrumentalist. I think he was a big influence in that. And I was very blessed to be around instruments. They were everywhere all the time. So I could just grab something and, how how do you make a sound on a trumpet? To me, like running around and traveling, I can't do it without an instrument or a way to record something, you know, I would go crazy, I think. And sometimes when I don't have it, like I have so many instruments in storage, you know, like up to 300, you know, different things like harpsichord and sitar, sarod, sarangi, you know, kamanche, you know, tar, gusheng. And so every time I'm somewhere for a while, I can't help but needing to play those instruments. And so I end up buying another flute and another this, and then I put that's sitting in everywhere where I go. There's like at my sister's, I stay with her every once in a while. And in the garage, I've got like 7 instruments, poor thing. Like when you travel, you always take a little version of your house with you, you know? You put it out of the thing, like I'm home now. For me, it's instruments, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's tricky because obviously I grew up at a time when there was nobody had a phone on their body. And not only that, but sometimes people only had a phone on a floor of their building. I mean, in Mexico, when I was a kid, my best friend, there was a phone on each floor, and there were 7, 8 apartments. So you had to call, and maybe the nosiest neighbor decided to pick up the phone, and you could say, "Is Juanito home?" You know, because you wanted to go play with him. And I very often would ride my bike across Mexico, and he wasn't home, so there was no way to know. I mean, obviously now it's gotten to the point where like, a lot of the connection comes through the phone. The plus side for me is I have the people that resonate with what I do, and I can't create in a vacuum, so I need to share. So almost every day I post some kind of moment in which I'm honestly just documenting where I am, and I put it up on Instagram. But on the other hand, in the early days, you would have to go get in a van and go and play around as much as you could, make friends so you could have a place on the floor for your sleeping bag, you know, to continue. There's a lot of pluses and a lot of minuses. And I also think it's just moving so fast, you know. We haven't developed internally our emotional intelligence as human beings. It can keep resetting with each generation. Or, you know, now they're suppressing books in the States, you know, like, oh, you can't read this, you know. It's like, you know, and so what they're afraid of, they're trying to, like, you know, I find it's a double-edged sword. And a lot of people, it feels great because people go, oh, thank you so much, you posted this thing and it helped me meditate, or like I woke up in the morning in a better mood because you did this, you played this thing, and you know, it means a lot to me, and it's a beautiful thing. And so that's really special. I hope that doesn't go away. The music, the art, the painting, the poetry, it needs to manifest, you know, it's got that energy to manifest. All of existence, we don't know what the actual reality is 100%, you know, scientific theories, religious theories. Art is a way, and obviously observing nature is kind of proof that there's something more. And we don't need to know exactly what it is because that's not interesting. The mystery is interesting, and the magic is interesting. To know that it exists, that's interesting, and it keeps you going because I don't want to know what the whole story is. I want to find out, and then change my mind. You know, oh wow, and it keeps every day like a fresh, exciting, new beginning. You know, but obviously connected to the past. You know. Send away. Where my voice is sitting, what it's doing that day, it could be a little bit hoarse. It could be maybe it doesn't have the open register because, you know, it's cold and I didn't sleep enough, or the instrument is not, that room doesn't sound as good as the other day. But whatever it is, I'd rather adjust to the best of what that is, you know, like figure out a way to communicate slightly differently or a different side of everything through the reality at the moment, or what I can get out of it, as opposed to like look at it as a negative. Oh, the sound, or this guitar doesn't feel good, or the, you know, it's not singing in tune, or I wish I had my falsetto today. Open is what you really want. So you kind of learn to you know, just try to figure out a way how to enjoy the most you can. Enjoy other humans, enjoy connection, enjoy moments, enjoy environments, nature, you know, sky, whatever it is. It all is interesting, and I think we're very lucky and blessed to be existing. I try to like just find the best in the moment. shock and stuck after Natasha passed away, because imagine soulmate, 25 years, 24 hours a day, and just what we meant to each other. We kind of were living one life, it wasn't two separate lives. Like, we were one thing in a way. So we were completely different. And then I think that Josh got very preoccupied, and being, my closest friend, one of my closest friends, he was very concerned for my safety and health, if I could make it, survive. So he got me busy with Arctic Monkeys, we did Crooked Vultures, and then at the end in the middle of Crooked Vultures tour, I was traveling with a cigar box, and that's where the song started to kind of be born, germinate. And then I think it was making Spark, that it was such I needed to do it, and it was 4 days that I don't remember much, but I could feel her presence, and it was a way to be together again, to connect. Because obviously I have a Natasha that's living inside me, just because, it's just that aspect of the universe that is her. The same way that Mark Lanegan and Chris, people that we spent so much time creating together, and also the deep friendship. And so for me now, I think that communicating through song, these things, keeps me connected to them, and it also keeps the legacy going. Our purpose was to create music, together and separately. So when I was working with Chris on Euphoria Morning, and with Natasha, and with Mark Lanegan and all those records that I did since Bubblegum, so that kind of process is very much it's still inside me, the way that when I work on music alone. I think it made me very open in that certain way, and also to appreciate that. And even live, when I play a show, it's not just playing a show. I have to embody the song. I have to go back to the moment of joy or of pain in a direct and honest way. It's like an incantation almost. The power of the song is always the same if it's honestly performed. This reality that we're in is impermanent. Things ebb and flow, and they appear and disappear. And what's interesting is what's underneath all of it, the part that is eternal, even though eternal is still a time-based concept. On one hand, I'm missing them terribly, and I selfishly want them here. On the other hand, I can also sense they're still here in many ways, not only through the music, but through when I look at something when I'm traveling, I can see that excitement for more than just me. I know Natasha would love this moment, or me, or this, she would love this person, or she would love this meal, or that vista, or this forest, this river, whatever it is. I mean, it might be a self-preservation thing that I unconsciously do or have that keeps me connected and not, because the last thing I want is to waste the energy that we had together, by stopping create. That would not be what they would want. They would want me to keep going, I mean, they're not here, but they would never say, you know what, fucking just give up and let it go. No, they would never do that. They would say, come on, let's go. So I keep that in mind and in my heart. Even in my time, it was a very, what they call a long shot, to be able to, become famous and make a living through music. Has always been challenging. And I think recorded music is not that old. Before that, artists were very often just people on the street playing, and maybe, and unless obviously you went into the cultural life, which is like being a classical musician, you have to realign yourself with the reason why and what it gives you. You don't want to give your power away, and your power comes from your connection to creativity. So that is everything. You already have to realize how blessed you are. If you're frustrated, define it in a way that can help you improve. If you feel good about what you're doing, it's enhancing your life, and it's you have no choice, you have to do this, then you find a way. And you certainly don't allow the world to tell you whether it's good or not, or whether it's worthy or not. You don't need someone to tell you. You need to figure it out for yourself first. I think that's very important. To re-cement and realign with the purpose And then if you realize that your heart is not in it, that it's too much of a sacrifice and it's not worth it for you, then you should be honest with yourself about that. Like, if you want to make lots of money and have nice cars, go on dates with models, and that's more important than writing a timeless song, then I don't know what to tell you. You can shoulder all the pain and you can protect yourself like a shield against all the bullshit when you know that your purpose is true and that's what you want it to be. For every seed that's going up into the sun and blooming, there's a million things that are trying to destroy it and squash it. For a young artist, I think that part, for a lot of people, it's quite natural in terms of knowing for sure. But if you're suffering because you're not sure, then I think there's a little self-examination would be good to do. I was very lucky because I've never survived from being a musician and artist per se. I've survived from things that are connected to it, are also creative, like engineering, mixing, producing. From day one, I always loved that. It's one thing to me. It's an activity of creating music and then helping others create it. Like, decades are passing and I'm like, still, let's go. And also being a good member, a family member, a good team player, where people want to have you around because you help them with their creative process.